A lot to be desired, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, I thought we looked pretty good myself.
Mayor Hobbs will not be.
Okay.
All right, well,
It's 3 o'clock.
I'll call this meeting to order. And Jeff, you'll take the roll call.
Yes, sir. Mayor Hobbs, absent. Chairman Commissioner Mike Anderson,
Here.
Vice Chairman Commissioner Nelson Watson,
Here.
Secretary Commissioner Gary Hunt,
Here.
Commissioner Terrence Hillsman,
Here.
Alderman Julie Anderson,
Here.
Director Jeff Perry, present. Assistant Director Lonnie Foley,
Here.
and Billing Office Manager Jennifer Hall. She might be running a little late. Her CMFO graduation is today, so if she gets out in time, she'll be here soon.
All right. Would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, I would like to make an addendum to add on commissioners' comments at the end. Just go around and do that. If we can make that an amendment. So, all in favor of amended agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. All right. Citizens' comments. Anybody?
Hi, I'm back for the third time.
And you are?
So my name's Marandy Riley. I started the process of trying to get water from Manchester in spring of 2023 with the old director, and we got as far as having it approved by the state and approved by you all. I came in August of 2023. It was approved by you all. I stayed in touch and wasn't getting anywhere. Came back in August of 2024. It was said, why do we need to vote again? We've already voted that she can have water, and then nothing has still happened. So I'm back again.
So where
Jeff?
we're at.
What's your location? Where?
So I'm actually in Bedford County. I'm 600 foot from the line, from the tap.
How far?
600 foot from the
600
corner of
foot.
my property to the
Okay.
tap. And so it was agreed upon with the last director that we would pay for the cost of supplies, and then of course our tap, and then you guys would provide labor.
Let me apologize to everybody to start with. I left my hearing aids at home. I can't hear nothing.
So, over the, I think it was 2 months ago roughly, 2.5 months ago roughly, went and got, because it's been so long, had a couple of the guys go, it was Kevin Condra and Dana Douglas, went, saw the mayor of Wartrace, Brian Ross, and got approval again, because it had been so long. We just wanted to cover our bases to make sure that, you know, if we do this, we're coming into your county and don't want to step on anybody's toes. We had discussion with the mayor about it, and I think that discussion is still ongoing, so, I'm sorry that he's not here, Miss Miranda.
That was really who I needed to
It
speak
was-
to today.
So, Ms. Sage came and said that he had something come up to where he couldn't make it. And, so, him and I will be in discussion. I'm sure I'll see him tomorrow, and I'll give you a call.
Okay.
And,
I'm trying to build a house still, and we're trying to finalize our loan, but I need to know, am I gonna have city water, and when can that happen? Since it's been ongoing so long, or do I just need to have a well dug and say, never mind?
yes. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with that.
And get with the mayor, see what, so let's get going on it. We've approved it at least once, I think.
At this point, my neighbor was gonna split the construction costs, or the supplies costs with me, but they've kind of thrown their hands up and said, never mind, we're gonna go a well route, which means it's now twice as expensive for me to pay for the supplies, and I've been told that the cost has now went up, but I can't get a number on that cost, so it's been very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
So that was why I really was hoping the mayor would be here today, so that I could try to get, because I tried to call actually last week, and they were like, oh, well, you have to get it approved. It's been approved.
Who, do you know who you talked to?
I don't, maybe his assistant. I asked him to speak with the mayor about water, and then it was whoever answered the phone.
Hopefully have some resolution. I know the issues of running water in the county, you know, is, and especially in a different county, presents its own, I guess, choices or difficulties, and, but we'll,
I mean, you know, West Warren runs
They're in.
water in Coffee County.
yes, sir.
And
So-
from what I understand, Hobbs Lane right beside us is Bedford County, and the water goes down Hobbs Lane. So it's already in the county. So I feel like that's not a good excuse,
Yes,
to be frank.
So we get going on this.
Yeah, I mean, 600 feet.
We don't need to let this linger.
Just, have you investigated what a well costs?
Yes, I have, and it was, I talked to Landers Drilling.
Right.
And it was gonna be approximately the same cost. And so the neighbor, so I currently live at the property, but we have a field beside us we're trying to, build in, and that's where I want the tap at, to access there. And the neighbor on the other side of that property had to dig, I think they've now dug 4 wells because they had such bad water.
Okay.
And ours has high sediment where we're at now, and so like I can't even fill up a kiddie pool because our well runs out and gets bad. You can't even wash your truck, you know, so it's one of those things, if I'm gonna spend $8,000 to $10,000, I'd really like, which is what I was originally quoted, I would like to know that I'm gonna have water. Or, you know, be able to do those kind of
Right,
things.
right.
Cause it was a highly, you know, we really tried to weigh our options there, to what was gonna be the best route.
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am. Well, I'll be in discussion with Mayor Hobbs, and hopefully some form of resolution comes in.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna charge myself with these children today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item is review of the May 8th minutes. I think everybody get a copy of that. Any comments, corrections, additions? I don't think we need no additions. I've read novels that are shorter than this, Jim.
Or,
It's good, it's good. All in favor of approving the previous minutes, say aye. Aye. All right. Do you have anything from the mayor to report? Okay. Pass that. And your director's report now.
yes, sir. Excuse me, I have indigestion pretty bad, so if you see me take a breath, I'm sorry. So it's a pretty lengthy director's report, and instead of going through every line item and keeping you here for 2 hours, I'm just gonna shorten it. You can see the work that we've done. So we have started listing equipment and vehicles on Gov Deals. Currently, we have sold 5 vehicles and equipment. We brought in a little over $10,000 on that, which will go into the fund, and possibly one day we'll have enough from vehicles being sold, we can buy another truck or something that we need. And Situform, who came last year and did the cleaning and televising of our sewer interceptor lines, we had a lot of trouble getting the data from them, and there's a lot of discrepancies between communication between them and us. The data that they provided was not compatible with our data was not compatible with theirs. It just became a huge problem. We were able to get gentleman from True North that's doing the asset management for us in the future, and have him, Kevin Rainey, and the gentleman from Instituform get together on a call, and they were able to gather the data. So we're going through that currently. It's good that we finally at least have some form of closure on that. It's been a long time coming. They've been, of course, liquidated damages comes into effect with that. I don't know, there'll be a discussion with Craig and everybody involved about that. So, having Dana back and some of the history of our plant and our system, he was able to reach out to a former operator of our wastewater treatment plant. I think his name's Paul.
Yeah,
Costa.
Paul.
Constant.
And how it used to be done, so they would split the ditch. And now, having talked to a previous operator, the method in taking in heavy rain flow to the plant, which I don't want to say I hope we find out this weekend, but once we get another heavy rain event, we're gonna try this method and see what the difference is. And what it's doing instead of it, I guess more or less just all going to the clarifiers. Excuse me. It'll be going to the middle rings, which will hold the solids, and the outer rings, instead of washing it all out to the clarifiers. And so water distribution, excuse me, before we get to that, Sycamore Drive, we've had a history, some problems with that. We have ran a sewer line that's just been a historical problem. That's gonna be a very nice thing to have done for the customer. She kept having sewer backing up in her basement.
Miss Mills?
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
I got a
so-
call from her this week too.
So we are in the process of changing out her sewer line, and, we did that, we're doing that in-house. Water distribution throughout the month of May, we fixed 14 water leaks, installed 6 new water taps, repaired 7 fire hydrants, and replaced 2 fire hydrants that were hit by cars. And then if you wanna, we'll go to, so the press room, we've been cross-training, an employee in our press room, Cody Stevens. He's been doing a great job for the past month. And, I went in yesterday and sat with him, and, he's moving along pretty good in gaining knowledge and on-the-job training. So it's nice having somebody else that can operate the belt press. The wastewater collection system, our televising crew has televised 16,077 foot of sewer line during the month of May. We've done that in-house. We fixed 10 sewer lines that were either collapsed, pulled apart, or broken. And over the past 2 months, I sent a spreadsheet of sewer lines that we have repaired more or less over the past 2.5 months. In-house, we made 22 repairs on sewer lines with the same problems. And when we have our next rain event, I'm hoping that we can see some differences in the flow coming into the plant from rainwater. Sewer collection system projects. So the Norris brothers are rolling along. Adam, if you have any, I guess, small update that you want to give on where they're at.
As of last week, we laid, I think it was 220 foot of pipe. There was one creek crossing that was complete. This is behind Mr. Carter Sain's house. Sherwood there. They're just getting started over there. They've got the materials in and they're fixing to start that part as well.
My wife said, it looked like they had built a road across, the farm there.
Willis Farm?
Yeah, Willis Farm.
Yes, sir.
Is that true? Just kind of a temporary area to
They
get
are-
out there, I guess.
You know how it's real muddy down there in the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to stay off his crops, and so to go through that muddy area back
Yeah.
there, they've been hauling in some riprap and stuff to be able to drive.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, next project, we had a pre-con meeting with Fisher Excavating on 512. That will be the sewer interceptor upsizing from Willis Farms to Skinner Flat. Is there any tentative date on when that, I guess that's supposed to start?
It's already started. They've got a job trailer on site down there. They hauled in probably 20 loads of rock.
I was wondering if that was in.
They've got their pipe in today.
Who's doing that project?
Fisher Excavating, they're out of Freeport, Illinois, I think.
So Duke's, the smoke testing, televising, and cleaning of our sewer lines throughout our system in each basin. Smoke testing began on 512. Basin K has been completed, J and I are half completed. 7 total basins are being smoke tested. Currently, 95,000 feet have been completed, and they still have 191,000 feet left to cover. I know, so if anybody sees smoke in their house, I mean, there's door hangers being hung. I guess just be mindful of, if you get a phone call about my house is full of smoke, they're probably in the area. Hopefully,
They did.
that's what.
Our neighborhood, they put door hangers on, they're real professional about it, did a good job.
So we've received a good portion of their televising data. We've been going through it and identifying areas that we need to address. The data collection of that has been really good. They've been really good to work with. And moving forward, that's more data in the queue for us to be able to say, we have problems here, you know, we're going behind them with the camera as well and trying to make point repairs if we can in-house. Later on, the things that we can't fix, we'll start making projects for those things. In televising of our lines, we're finding, which I know there's a lot of clay lines throughout our system, and we've been talking internally in my department about us just certain streets that have clay lines going through and tearing them all out and putting in new lines ourselves, if possible. And that's something I can discuss with you, Adam, as well, to get you in the loop on that. The water billing office.
Before you get to that, Jeff, let me ask you a question about the smoke testing. I know they are marking manhole covers. Do you know what method they're using to distinguish between those that are leaking smoke out and those that are not?
So, I haven't discussed that with him, but I can find that out.
I've seen them marked 2 different ways, so
Well, if they have holes in the top of them, like some manhole lids have holes in the top of them where you can put your pick in and pull it out.
Right,
Those are definitely gonna
Yeah.
smoke when you are in the area smoke testing. But in the same token, they also allow watering.
absolutely.
And so, one of the things, Mr. Lonnie, we've had discussions about replacing the manhole lids that have holes in them, and, I mean, there's certain different ways of doing that. I mean, you can buy a new manhole cover, super covers,
They marking them, some of them is just almost totally painted white, or a big X with a circle around it. Some of them are just marked on the ring.
so some of them, I would assume the ones that have the X with the circle around it, the screen, maybe they're covered up. I mean, that's the way we used to mark them where I was
Yeah.
from. That could be what you're saying.
But I know I was out there and I saw one leaking. I saw the smoke coming out, and he came up there and painted it, but I didn't stay long enough to see which way he marked it. But, I've seen others with marked a different
Yes,
way,
sir.
but,
We still have to locate and raise around 50 manholes that have been paved over, if we can even raise them. Which, I mean, if they've been covered over, that possibly could seal them from getting water in them.
sure.
So, I mean,
Or spill it.
yes, sir. Any more on that?
No, I just, the ones that's covered, that, you know, it seems like that would be a lower priority and, unless you need to get in there,
Yes, sir, and
why bother?
that's kind of the gist of that.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. If
okay.
it's a priority manhole, we're raising them. We raised, I can't remember how many we raised last month. I have it in
Yeah.
the report. But I mean, as you can see, I mean, I try to prepare a detailed, I guess, day-to-day work, history of what we're doing in-house, so that way y'all have an idea of kind of what we're doing. The water billing office implemented new credit card machines, and they are currently doing an audit for fire protection program with the customers, or with customers. City Works work order training was scheduled for May the 20th, but it was it was postponed to a later date. True North was behind in getting data that was provided, which now has been provided, and training is being scheduled in their office in Murfreesboro for this month. And for the month of May, there were no manhole overflows. So, budget review, just get a brief synopsis of kind of where we're at revenue-wise. Through May 31st, we have $522,000 left to collect in revenue. As you can see, the current period for the month of May, we collected $734,669.92. So we're well on track of meeting our revenues. And if you go to the last page, I won't go through line items, give you a high-level overview. On the budget balance, that's what we have left to get, or left to spend, excuse me, for the rest of the year. The way that I'm seeing it, I mean, it's looking like we're gonna come in under budget, which is kind of what I've tried doing without spending an exorbitant amount of money on vehicles and things that we need, but, you know, just didn't have the money for at the time. Any questions on the budget, feel free to ask. If not, moving on. So new business, tap fees. I sent an email out. So the bottom of the first page, you can disregard that. That was something that was more or less just something that was put together by myself at the very beginning of all this, trying to figure out where we should be with our tap fees, and it was just me freewheeling it without going by the old rates instead of the rates that are proposed that we have passed moving forward. So as you can see, currently we are charging for a 3/4 inch water tap at the top of the page. Inside city limits is $1,500. Outside the city limits is $2,250. And so you can go down the page and read those. I won't go through every one of them. If you flip over to the next page, you can see this is how much it cost us currently. So we are currently losing about $3,300 on a 3/4 inch tap per tap. And that's kind of where we make our money at. So
So this-
that's the prices of of all the parts, the labor, the equipment, all that. I mean, we're taking significant losses in our taps.
Jeff, just a question or two about this current costs we're incurring to put in a tap. Does every tap we put in incur all of these items?
So,
I mean, is there a dump truck fee for every one of them, for every tap we put in?
no, sir, but, I mean, this can be adjusted to, I mean, if something is not used, I mean, it can be credited back to the account, or, I mean, generally, whenever you make a tap, you're gonna be using a dump truck.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to haul rock or whatever back in.
Right.
So generally, what is in this is gonna be,
It's generally used.
yes, sir.
And so we're currently inside the city charging $1,500, and we're spending $4,800
Yes, sir.
to put that tap in.
Yes, sir.
I guess we've been at 1,500 for a long time too, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
I
So-
certainly,
If you go through, you can go through each one of these and see the price difference, I mean, of what we're losing in the taps. I mean,
yeah.
I think this is way past due, and I'm excited to be able to vote for this. Because I think the cost of all this stuff should fall on the developers, and we've approved so many R4s and annexations and things. That's gonna be coming down the pike. We can't afford to take losses on every one of those taps.
Well, not that kind of loss. I would ask you this, the idea of providing water and sewer is we incur costs on the front end, and we recoup that loss through fees. Now, the question is, do we recoup those costs going forward in monthly fees for water and sewer, or is that just for the service each month cost for each water and sewer bill, and not trying to recoup anything that's on the front
are you talking
end?
about the tap fee?
Yeah, the tap.
That is totally separate. This is just labor, parts, equipment.
And so that's the cost of doing business
Yes, sir.
for me as a homeowner, if I wanna put that
This has
in.
nothing to do with water,
And-
with
and-
the water rates.
And then the water bill I'm gonna pay for water and sewer down the road, each month from then on, is simply for the water and sewer
Yes, sir.
I'm consuming. It's not to recoup,
This is a one-time.
to
fee.
pay for this.
Yes, sir. This is a
Okay.
one-time fee. Some utilities, in my research, charge a system improvement fee and add that into either their bill and/or their tap fees. Some places show a tap fee, like a 3/4 inch tap fee, and I'm not gonna name the utility. They'll show it, the tap fee's $150, and then the system improvement fee is $3,000. That's just giving you just a number.
Yeah.
But, I went through, just like I did with rates, I went through a whole lot of utilities to get different ideas, or
Mhm.
different numbers or data on what they're charging, and I mean, I can't remember where we're at with surrounding utilities, but I know that we're incurring a pretty big loss on our tax.
So that means the citizens are subsidizing all these new connections that are not paying for themselves.
Well, they're not paying for themselves. You know, we have to be able to fund ourselves, and, I mean, city taxes do not go towards us.
No,
So-
No.
no, it's,
So, I mean, all this is money that we're losing and will help get us the long game into where we need to be. And one of the things that I know, you know, inflation and things change over time, and what I have right here is a pretty strong figure of what we're losing. And, I mean, I'm not asking you to vote on it right now, because I still there's a couple more things I wanna look at before.
Proposal,
Yes, sir.
yeah, okay.
And,
I don't think it's that bad. You've got some costs in here that are called sunk costs. The dump truck and the excavator, if it sits all month, it costs you the exact same amount other than direct cost, which is fuel. And there's nothing, whether you're using it or not, it's still, you incurred the same cost, which is depreciation.
Yes.
Okay, whether you use it or not. So the more it's used, actually, the more money it makes us because you're spreading that cost over more jobs. So it's not as bad as I think you initially look at it. I think I'm sure it needs to be raised, but like I said, the equipment, it got expensive if it didn't get used all year. It still costs the system the exact same amount of money, or if it put in 100 taps.
yes, sir. So as you can see, I mean, the hours on the installation, is 8 hours. The equipment fee, I just put down as 5.
Wow.
And one of the things, I mean, so I just put hypothetically how long we possibly could use the equipment.
Right, I understand, that's a guesstimate.
Yes, sir.
You know, you
And
could have one that takes 2 days to put in, or one that took 3 hours to put in, yeah.
So there's some things in here that I want to tighten up
Right.
before it's presented or before y'all approve or disapprove of it. So-
Well, with all that being said, I have to think I agree with Julie that adjusting these rates are long overdue. And I understand this is just an estimate of the cost, but, we're, in some form or fashion, we're losing money
I mean,
if we're not recouping the front end costs
You're losing $3,300.
by your estimate.
If we're not getting our direct costs back, yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
Right,
yeah.
and I've always thought that the bill helped pay for that in the front end, but you're telling me it doesn't. So if we need to recoup it,
Well, I mean,
fine.
the bill is just paying for what the
Well-
person's consuming and then expelling. More or
Well-
less about the best.
Got
way to put it.
you,
The water bill pays for everything.
The what?
And the water bill pays for everything.
Oh, I
in
know.
there. I mean, that's your top line.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever it gets spent on,
But you're losing.
if you don't have a deficit,
But when you're losing $3,000 per tap and you're having, I mean, who knows what's coming here in the future, but if you continue to take $3,000 losses on
oh,
taps,
Well-
yeah.
you're,
Jeff, we don't want to be in a position to tell ratepayers that we're raising their rates in order to pay for the money we're losing on the front end of new taps. People don't like that idea, and I don't either.
No,
so.
I agree.
And some of the research that I need to continue doing, like system improvement fees,
Yeah,
how different is that from a capacity fee? Is
Right.
that something that needs to be included into the tap fee, just for the sake of improving our system for developers? I mean, I know capacity fee, that's what that's intended for. I still have some research left to do.
Okay.
Again, you just have rough numbers sitting in front of you that I was gonna add a disclaimer to whenever this is passed. I've seen it in other utilities in their ordinance, that this is subject to change due to unforeseen reasons such as inflation or cost changes. I mean, now it could be tariffs, I mean, it could be anything. For something to be, and I know it's gotta be voted on, and once it's voted on, it's there until you go through it again.
Right.
The process of going through all of this, I know takes time, but I've seen other cities that have disclaimers about this rate.
well, you could always get BOMA to pass it in a way that says the maximum fee is X, but you could reduce it if you don't use some of the items on here. It could be less, but you won't get charged for a tap no more than. And they'd probably go along with that so that you had the flexibility to lower it. and maybe you want your maximum to take care of extenuating circumstances, because you never know what might pop up. That's just an idea, but more than likely, you're gonna end up with a fixed rate. You know, it's X.
Yes.
If you get a 3/4 inch tap, it's X inside the city. And,
So
That is-
most places have a fixed rate, don't they?
yeah, I think they do, yeah.
It's just easier.
It's very clean, you know upfront what it's gonna cost you. Unless you run into very
Well, that's what-
extenuating
Yeah,
circumstances.
that's what a
And I mean-
developer would want, or a contractor, the knowing,
Right.
I build X amount of many houses.
He's
Yes.
got to
I've
know,
got- I've got
and he
this-
should know,
Yeah.
should be allowed to know. Jeff, you think you'll have those proposals maybe next
Yes,
month?
sir, I will.
Definitely next month?
Yes,
All right.
sir. And I mean, just going through the rate changes and all the other stuff, it's been time consuming along with, you know, the day-to-day operation. So, you know, Mr. Foley helped me put this together, him and Daryl, to get the cost and to see where we're at. I was able to say, this is what I need. And, I mean, just looking at the numbers, it's a hard pill to swallow
Well,
consistently.
yeah, I mean, it's primarily gonna be developers, I guess, although there are people that own single lots and say, hey, I'm ready to build on it now, and bring me a,
I mean,
Set
just
me on a
the
tab.
same as the young lady that was in here a little while ago. I mean, you know, how many, and it's not a reference to her, but how many more times can we continue taking losses on that?
right. All right. Item 2,
Yes, sir. So, item 2, we're still working on getting quotes for a valve tapping machine. Thought I was gonna have them all in this time, but we don't. So that can be scratched off until next time. But what this is gonna allow us to do, instead of having to get a contractor to come in and make hot taps or cut-in water valves, like I've said in the past, in our water system, in the distribution system, there's been many water main breaks to where you're having to cut off 10 or 15 water valves, open up fire hydrants, and you still having water come in on the guys. And, I mean, that's unacceptable, and I'm not gonna get into the bushes as to why that is. I mean, we're gonna implement a valve exercising program. But we definitely have to have valves cut in specific in quite a few areas. And, I mean, I'm just gonna throw a guesstimate out there. The correct valve tapping machine could be $30,000 to $50,000 to encompass all of our water lines. And that's just a rough guesstimate, but and also, I mean, we'll have to send our crew to go make sure they know what they're doing when they do it, so that way they can come back and we can start putting in valves, and it'll behoove our department and the city for us to be able to kill water completely.
help me understand how a valve tapping machine is gonna work. Now, we've all seen
So instead of
how
doing-
you tap a line that's got pressure on it. We've seen them do
It's
that.
the same thing, same concept, but in a bigger fashion. You're able to do it to a main and put in a valve, so you're inserting a valve into the line. Just, it's different, but it's the same concept.
Instead of tapping it, you're
Yes, sir.
tapping, but you're putting a valve.
You're
It's
putting the valve.
It's actually very, very simple.
Yes.
We had the same product he's trying to bring here. We utilized that at my previous employer, and I mean,
Do they put a bladder and stop the flow and then put the valve behind it?
So-
I can't really describe it. It kind
Yeah.
of inserts around the pipe, and it cuts into the pipe. And as it's cutting into it, so it starts sideways basically, and as you tap into it, it straightens itself up into a valve. And then you can take off the bonnet, or take off the bottom, and you leave the bonnet, and that's the valve.
Okay.
And from that point forward, you can operate it as a normal
Open and
valve.
close it.
So in different places I've been in, whenever we ran into a situation and we had this a few months ago, we had to have a valve inserted. Hot valve inserted. I think, I wanna say it was around $30,000 to have it inserted. That's for one valve. And so this, if we're able to do this in-house, the savings will be exponential, because
How many valves do you think we got system-wide that need to be put in?
a lot. There's so many areas throughout this system that need, I
They
mean,
don't have a valve,
well, they have valves, but
not where you
I
need
mean,
them.
it's just, when you're having to go 5 streets over, killing water, I mean, you know, if you're able to isolate different parts of your town, I mean, I'm just gonna, just throw a street out, just say your street. I mean, and I'm not saying this is the case, but, you know, if it takes 10 valves to cut your street off, then we could just kill it from one end to one end and leave everybody else with water.
Yeah.
I mean, it benefits the city, it reduces the amount of time that people are out of water, and it's just it would be a nice thing to have for us.
And definitely pay for itself.
Yes, it paid for itself
Maybe
very
the first
quickly.
job.
New lines, when you're designing new lines, are they taking that into account? I assume they didn't do
You're
that to
talking
begin
about
with.
valves,
Yeah, putting more valves in the line to begin with.
so,
New water lines.
yes, sir, so the valve should be, I mean, like, if you get a subdivision, that's just a one way in, one way out, it should be one valve to kill it,
Right.
and I mean, different streets, in my opinion, you should have a valve.
Well, I
If
mean,
you-
are-
If it wants to be designed that way,
is it being designed that way?
well, I mean,
Don't you have the ability to require it to be designed
yes,
that way?
yes, I do,
Okay. I mean, in the future,
yes,
I think we ought to think about that.
yes, sir.
I think it's
So,
fine, Jeff, if you need equipment, buy
according-
equipment.
I mean, just touching on what you say, I mean, I've also been working on, departmental requirements when it comes to contractors putting in stuff. And I mean, we've been trying to gather data on pumps that we want, things that we want. And, I mean, once we have it all hammered out, then, I mean, before all the big developments really start coming, I know there's been developments here that have not had the oversight from our department as far as how exactly we want things and what we want uniform this, you know, all that's coming.
Right, well, I mean, I'm sure the engineers that the developer hires is gonna engineer it as to the minimum standards and costs, most costs. I understand that.
And that's why
state.
we're-
But we can elevate what our minimums are over state,
Yeah,
correct?
I mean, we can more or less overrule that with a departmental policy
Okay.
of this is what we want. And I mean-
Because the developer, once we accept it, they donate it to us, but then it's our problem.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You inherit what they do.
Whatever that.
Well, their design flaw, unintentionally or intentionally, then becomes our problem and
Yes,
our
sir.
cost.
And,
Right, that's what
I mean, when you have,
You should fix that
you
on the
have
front.
10 different pumping stations with 10 different pumps, 10 different
Mhm.
electrical panels, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, you're shooting
Nothing's
yourself in the
uniform.
foot.
Yeah.
Nothing's uniform. You can have one of this, or a stock of this, white pumps, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna use for an example, and the same electrical panel and components, and just go station to station. It's not beneficial.
You said a hot tap. Is that where they have to use scuba gear?
Sir?
On a hot tap, they have to use scuba gear.
No.
I've seen that.
Well, I mean, if-
No, I've seen it, yeah. They do. I mean, it's
Yes,
like
if you
deep
do
deep
it
diving
wrong and the
gear.
hole fills up with water, you're
Yeah,
gonna need
that's
scuba
what I
gear
mean.
or a
This is
snorkel.
deep down, 20 foot of water, putting in a valve on
I
the
mean,
line.
I've been in the hole a long time ago, the very first water tap that I ever was a part of. The gentleman, I was 18, and the cork stop, you're supposed to ease the tapping machine out and cut the cork stop off. Well, he just unscrewed it, and water, I mean, I jumped out of the hole, and he was trying to get his crescent wrench on it to turn the cork stop off, and water was above his head.
Yeah. I've seen videos like that.
It was funny, but it wasn't funny. I mean,
Right.
it could have been avoided.
All right. Jeff, you got anything else?
Yes, so I sent a sewer repair tracking form, that we prepared. I don't know if you have it. I sent it, I don't know if you brought it with you.
This right here?
Yes, sir. So you can see the repairs that we have made, since the month of March, and there's been a few more made since then. And, you can see, I don't know, I know it printed off kind of wonky for me. So, the significance, I have it, it's ranged from high, medium, major to low. And, there's a lot of high and major areas that we have fixed. And, I mean, these are things that we have televised and found. There was one spot in particular, had a slideshow and prepared, but, I forgot my laptop this morning, and the mayor he's not here, he didn't have his, so, maybe next time or not maybe, next meeting I'll have more slides to add to those, and we'll just go through them, and you can kind of see the repairs that we've made.
Jeff, the one on Sherwood Drive, repaired 4-inch service, that had nothing to do with running the sewer line from Sherwood across Willis Farm. It's two different things. Okay. All right. Anything else?
You had the amended commissioner's comments.
Yes. Commissioner's comments. Julia, you have anything?
I don't have anything tonight except to say good work. Looks like you guys have been busy, and I appreciate getting all these change estimates with enough time to really go over it and do some research and think about it before next time.
No?
Have you heard anything, have you gotten an ordinance change for the membership yet?
No.
Call Craig and tell him I'm mad. Okay. I aim to see that fixed before I get off of this board. Gary, you got anything?
No, I agree with you, it needs to be fixed.
Nelson? No. If not, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor to adjourn, say aye. Aye.
Thank you all.
Stand adjourned. Do I need to write Craig another nasty letter, or you think he's just been that
I
busy?
think he's probably been busy.
All right. I'll hold my tongue.
We'll get to it.
I know him pretty good. He's a good guy.